Welcome back, everyone. What I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about visualization. When we hear people talk about manifestation, they often use the word, visualize. You've got to visualize the dream that you want to manifest. You've got to visualize yourself having it. But let's actually drill down into what visualization actually means. Let's get that clarity so that you have the steps to confidently feel like you know that you're manifesting. So, as always, I've got my slides here, and I want to cover a variety of topics in today's video. I want to discuss what is visualization, what are your visual expectations, what is stopping you from visualizing, and how to increase your manifestation with steps to visualize. So, what does it mean to visualize? Visualization is that mental process to imagine and experience. We're using our visual senses every day. If you've got sight, you're using your visual senses every day. You're seeing the external world. And so, visualization is that process internally to see your world. So, visualization is like using the cinema of your mind to create that sensory experience for your entire body. We're not just talking about the visual sense when we're manifesting, we're talking about really immersing ourselves in that experience. So, what does it feel like? What does it sound like? What is that self talk, and what are you telling yourself when you are in that experience of that manifestation? For me, this encompasses that whole bubble of what is visualization. Now, it's interesting to point out that the brain cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. You know, from sitting in the cinema, the real cinema, and you're watching that movie, and then suddenly your reality stops and you're in that movie. You know, you're feeling the adrenaline, you're feeling the love hormones, depending on what movie that you're watching. So the brain can't tell the difference between you being in that movie, what you're imagining, versus what is real. I mean, otherwise, why would we be entertained by movies if our body wasn't creating that response? So, this is fantastic whenever you're visualizing yourself in the future, your body is building that familiar energy to go and create it in your reality. So, visualization is comes down to that mental rehearsal, imagining what it would be like to have that manifestation. No different than reading a book and just immersing yourself in the story to see it, to feel it, to know it. And so the more that you do this, the easier it'll be for that manifestation to come in. The body's familiar with that experience and wants to create more of that. So some people will be visualizing the worst case scenario. Their body's going to start generating that anxiety. Now, thinking about being in a cinema where you're watching some sort of horror film or a shoot 'em up and your body's creating that stress response. It's no different than if you're worrying about your money at the moment or you're worried about your health. You've put yourself into the future. You're already playing out the worst case scenario and your body is generating that anxiety versus somebody else who's visualizing that success. They know the bigger picture, they know the vision, they know the dream of what they want to create, and they're attracting in positive events to be able to create that. It's a completely different experience, but it just goes to show that we're all manifesting all the time. So some people are going to visualize in clear images. I must admit, I am one of those people. When I put my mind to it, I can see what I want my business to look like. I can see the retreats that I want to create. I can see the experiences that I want to share with people. Whereas other people will find their images to be blurry. So they have to, even if I ask you to think about something that you did yesterday, you may get a brief kind of flash and then you actually have to focus to sharpen, okay, what was it that I did yesterday? Whereas other people actually remember and visualize with sounds, smells, and tastes. So if you're somebody who likes to drink wine, it's not me, but you can immerse yourself in that tall glass of red wine at the end of the day, or the coffee. It's the moreish feeling, it's the smell, it's the taste, right? And so I want to talk about people's visual expectations. We are all unique. There are some people who can see color, but there are some people who are colorblind, they can't see color, but it's so strange because they can imagine color. They can't see color, but they can imagine color. Really interesting conversations with those people. There are some people who can't imagine color, but they can imagine faces. So again, this brings back my point that we're all visualizing on a spectrum there. We're all doing it in a different way. Many people actually assume, being a hypnotherapist for some years, people would assume that being in hypnosis that they would see the experience on the back of their eyelids. I found that strange. I was like, okay, that's a new one for me. Or they expect it to be incredibly sharp with the detail. Taking somebody back to a past life, there are definitely people that get the most crispest detail of like the shoes that they're wearing and the color of the laces and the faces and the costumes and the food that they're eating. And then there are some people who just get that feeling of knowing that they're out in a paddock and they know that it's a warm dusk afternoon. Like there is a real difference, and yet both of them are experiencing that past life experience. So it's about accessing that visual part of your mind in whatever is right for you. So just close your eyes. Think about a friend that you haven't seen in a while. Can you get a sense of what they look like? Can you imagine a rainbow in the blue sky? I must admit, that's one of my favorite sights. And with your eyes still closed, what does your favorite pet look like? I'm right there, like I just feeling that sensory experience of nourishing that little Boris face and squishing his little cheeks. But what was that experience like for you? Like what came up for you in that? Was it crisp? Was it just what you focused on? Was it blurry? Did you get that sensory experience of what's familiar? This is that manifestation. Whatever you've just done there, put it to your manifestation that you're dreaming, that you're creating. It's important to remember that everybody can increase their visualization skills by mentally training and building that intention. And again, that's through meditations, visualizations, taking yourself on a walk and really rehearsing what it is like to have the thing that you want. There are some people that cannot visualize, and this is only 3% of the population that have this. If you suspect that you have aphantasia, there's definitely some quizzes on good old Google that help you determine whether or not that's a possibility. But aphantasia really means that there's this inability to voluntarily create a picture in your mind. Again, I haven't met anybody with aphantasia, but doing a lot of research into this, it stands out that they categorize their experiences in their mind through ideas, which means, again, they're still using their mind to manifest, they're still able to access their ideas. Again, goes to show that the power of the mind, we can all manifest through our mind. So when it comes to your manifestation, you have that desire for a reason. If you have the desire to build that amazing, well-connected business, or if you have a desire to manifest in that car because it gives you a sense of freedom, that holiday, the baby, whatever it is, you have that desire for a reason. And it's your intuition that's encouraging you to use the powerful tools that you were born with, the power of your mind, the power of your body, sensory experience to create this. The interesting thing with intuition is there's always that hint of discomfort listening to the intuition because it's pulling us to do something that we haven't done before. And yet there's still that bravery and that strength and that curiosity when the intuition is talking. This isn't imagination when it's just that fantasy of, oh, I'd love to have a castle and a horse. And it's like, well, if that's true, part of your blueprint, true part of your intuition, you'll also get the tools with it to go and create it. So it's a really big difference here with your intuition. You have that desire for a reason. Trust in the tools that you were born with to go and manifest that. Now, the steps that I use to visualize, and I must admit, I'm not a sitter downer to meditate. I don't have the patience for that. I'm somebody who visualizes when I'm mowing the lawns, when I'm gardening, when I'm walking in nature. There's still movement to my body. So whether you do this with your eyes opened or closed, it still works. It's about slowing down your mind, slowing down your breath, almost escaping this world and setting the intention with your body to really get in touch with what is it that you want. Closing your eyes if you're a sitter, palms up if you like to sit and visualize. This is an invitation to the universe to connect and to receive. Of course, mowing the lawns, I'm a little bit in a different position, but it still works. Bring your attention, bring your awareness to the item that you want to manifest. Get in touch with the emotions that gives you, like, why do you want this? What does it bring up for you? A sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment? What is it that this gives you? And then start to allow the appreciation in and feel really inspired about what is possible. These are the simple steps to visualize. And if you're still putting on the brakes and saying, wait a minute, that's all a bit, a bit too vague, I want to offer you an experience of building up that visualization muscle. Clearly, if you're somebody who needs a little bit more of the steps, then we need to build this muscle up. And I've got the exact steps for you. So to intend on building that visualization within yourself, start taking notice of what's going on around you. Start taking notice of what is the colors of the curtains, what's the color of the door, the shape of the door handle, the window shape. Just start taking notice of what's going on around you, just to build that knowing of the visuals. I joked with a class that I'm facilitating, that husband who's busy in his own world and she walks in a brand new dress and he doesn't acknowledge how beautiful she looks in the new dress. There's some tension going on, and it's like he needs to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. And if her feelings are hurt because she didn't get noticed, she too also may need to check in with the meaning that she's putting to that. It's a whole nother conversation. So coming back to these steps, take notice of what's going on around you, and then maybe pick up an item such as a vase or a crystal or a cup, and actually just take the time to look at it. I'm looking around me now and I should have brought a prop, but I'm thinking, hold that item. Is it round? Is it soft? Is it scratched? Is it dented? What does it look like? And take in the detail of that. Now, close your eyes and mentally recall, what was that image? Was it shiny? Was it smooth? What was the color? What was the shape? And just start to engage in that remembering, starting to build that muscle. And of course, we need to include the other senses to build that experience. Maybe taste an orange or a chocolate cake or garlic bread. Savor the flavor. And then notice what gets your attention about that. When it's gone, like, what makes your mouth water? And it's like, is it the sweetness? Is it the bitterness? What is it for you? And again, this is all part of that visualization muscle that you're building. Going outside and smelling a lavender or hyacinth, your fragrance, your perfume, lavender essential oils. Take notice of that, how it feels in your body when you breathe it in, the calmness, versus maybe peppermint or something like that. It's like, oh, I'm awake. But what do you recall about that scent? So putting this into practice, this is going to build your visualization muscle, which will enhance your manifestation abilities. The more that you get in touch with your ability to manifest, the more that it's going to pay off by receiving those manifestations in so much easier. Guys, I hope that helps. Enjoy that experience of visualizing and immersing yourself in your world, and then go off and play in the reality of what's to come. In my collection of videos, I have a quantum jump, and that really does take you into the future of that reality of you've already created it. So experiencing it, so then you can bring it to this timeline. It's lots of fun. I hope that helps, guys. I will talk to you later.